Here we go again, right? Hi, I'm Shalon. I'm gonna jump right into it. I guess the intelligent thing to do when assuming that your son is having a mental episode is to post personal screenshots of text messages that are 3 years old in an attempt to validate a false narrative as if they are some type of receipt. You also invaded the privacy of my daughter's grandparents by posting your receipts. Neither of you should never speak on mental health again if you thought that that idea was a good one. As a person who lives with mental health issues, let me be the first to educate you that there are individuals who have taken their lives, harmed, and also taken the lives of others for doing the very thing that you so proudly did and your fan base pats you on the back for, which is very telling to how strangers will buy into your toxicity. Picking up the phone to check on your son that you believe is having a mental episode to make sure that he is okay, while also making sure that your granddaughter is safe, is too much to ask, I guess. For those wondering, I have gone to therapy on several different occasions, and that is not something that I will ever be ashamed of. I have even gone to therapy with my mother on several occasions. But for those who know how efficient therapy only works when both people are being open. My mother was still in her 15-year-old mentality phase during that time, so I guess I understand why she did not know how to be open with me during our sessions. When a person becomes accustomed to being a victim and others get used to seeing them as one, they live their lives in a state of internalization, meaning you consistently receive another's approach as an attack, constantly putting you under the illusion that you need to always be on the defense. Even in situations where there is no actual attack, just an acknowledgement of things already said by you. One should not feel attacked by an acknowledgement of the words that they stand on. You eventually become a passive aggressor. To address the men that had something to say in regards to men don't do what I'm doing, let me be very clear. How I man is none of your business. What and how I feed my family has no place on your plate. For every person that stated I should not have come to the internet, I would just like to ask, what do Club Shay Shay, the articles about my mother and I's relationship, the interviews about our relationship, and Instagram all have in common? Well, if you are competent, the internet. Furthermore, I did not expose my mother, nor did I badmouth my mother. I simply provided context to what was already being said about me, while also explaining why I don't speak to them directly. The reason those that feel negatively about what I said are just having a hard time differentiating between Nikki Parker and Monique. Please stop with the cornball idea that a celebrity can talk about a family member on the internet for years, but God forbid said family member says any one thing, and you all are outside with tiki torches and pitchforks defending not the actual person, but the idea of a person. These people are in an industry that is efficient at making money off of what is pretend. So in essence, you are defending a character. I love my mother, and it took the birth of my daughter to help me begin to understand the value of a mother. I am very proud of my mother, though, and I'm proud of the things that she has accomplished and will go on to accomplish in the future. My mother's bad, man. I watched that woman go from Baltimore to the moon. That drive is also in my daughter's blood. Not only is she still my mother, she's also a part of history, and I would be doing my daughter a disservice by not telling her about who my mother is and was. But since those messages that you posted were used as some type of a receipt to validate your false narrative, I figured I would take some time to gather up my receipts to validate my decision to move forward with my life without my mother in it. I do want to thank you all for listening for the now final time that I will ever address this topic, and I will leave you with my receipts.
Nonetheless, the one thing that I'm super grateful for in terms of my mom is a lot of people don't have the opportunity to see what the top of a mountain looks like. As I stated prior, they don't know what hard work and dedication looks like. And I appreciate my mother for, whether she was conscious that she was showing it to me or not, I appreciate her for doing what she did. Because now I feel like I don't have an excuse. You know, I don't have an excuse. So I don't feel like, you know, I had a bad childhood or, I mean, all I wanted to do was put context to something. I'm 33. I like to smile and laugh. I have a daughter. I have a girlfriend. She's asleep. It's 4:39 in the morning. As there are 439 people, 440 people in here. Honor thy mother and thy father. You know, I'm glad that you said that. I was gonna write something in regards to that. I believe that the best way for me to honor my mother and my father is to be the best father and man that I can be. That is the best way for any child to honor their parents. Sometimes I feel like when people say honor thy mother and thy father, it's this passive way of just being like, well, your parents went through this and you just gotta forgive. And come on, man. The best way I honor them is by being the best man and the best father that I can be. What is it that you're looking for from this? Well, okay, so it's a two-part answer. If you were to ask me that question when I originally posted my video, the answer was honestly nothing. Those that know me would tell you Shalon posted that video and honestly thought that it would get no more traction than any of his other videos. I'm not famous. I am not famous. I'm not a celebrity. So they think my last name is Jackson. So when I did that, I didn't think anything would come of it. But to be fair, this is where I am right now. And to honestly answer your question, I don't know if I have a full answer right now, maybe. Maybe I just continue posting what my TikTok originally was before it became this. To be fair to me, outside of these 3 videos, my TikTok profile is myself, my daughter, and my girlfriend. And I don't, see why I would change from that. You said change. Do I think my mom is a narcissist? No, I don't think my mom is a narcissist. I think that my mom is what a lot of people were stating, is that my mom is hurt. And it's not up to me, I can't say it's not up to me to define whether or not she is actually hurt. So I guess what I will say is, I say it like this: my mother has experienced trauma, and my mother has experienced hurt and pain. And when a person goes through those things, yeah, it can change you a bit. On top of that, when you also are famous, that also adds to it. I think oftentimes, man, people think that because these people are famous or that they're celebrities, to some degree they're immune from mental illness. I wish there was a better word than illness. I don't like that word. I don't like saying it like that. I don't like saying that I have a mental illness. But I guess essentially that's what it is. I feel like people compare your mom to the character she played in Precious Fair. Okay. So, my mother is not Marion Jones. My mother is not Marion Jones. The first time I had watched Precious, I was with my mom, actually. We watched it in her living room. And I'm not gonna lie, I laughed the entire time. Not because I was laughing at it, but because I'm not an audience member. This is my mother, so to see her, to watch her be the way that she was being was comical to me, because I could remember when she originally brought it to my attention that she was going to play the character, and she had me read a snippet of the book, and I was like, who are you supposed to be playing? And she was like, the mom. I was like, okay. But that was because I was so used to her. doing comedy roles. I wasn't, and it wasn't by any means, it wasn't that I didn't think she could do it. That wasn't it at all. It was just, I was so used to seeing her be funny. But no, my mother is not Marion Jones. She's not Marion Jones. I would agree, Riefelder. I don't think she really expected me to say anything. But I don't think that was like a conscious thought. I think when she spoke of me, the normal pattern is I don't say anything at all. I guess, so I feel like somebody would go, well, what made you honestly feel differently? Because I'm a dad. I have a daughter, and I felt like what she said was false, and that's all. I had a kid, and I just felt like what somebody said was false, and I have a daughter, and I just wanted to address it. You know, like that's really it. Who raised you until you were an adult? A lot of people. But no, I kind of moved around a lot. Excuse me. Let's try. I moved around a lot. So I lived in Texas. I lived with my father up until I was 17. I then moved here to North Carolina. I lived in Georgia. Thank the Lord. But I would say that, I mean, my parents, like I had a house that did have parents. So I can't give off I don't want to give off the impression that there weren't people that raised me, but I mean, it was a multitude, it was people. And like there were people that raised me. Part of the reason why I speak the way that I do, if not all of the reason why I speak the way that I do, it's a two-part reason. Growing up watching my mom do award shows, I would sit backstage. I never liked sitting in the audience. I would sit backstage and I would watch how she could read the teleprompter really good. And there were times when it would just go really, 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 really fast. And I learned that you had to learn how to articulate your words, or you had to learn how to enunciate your words. My father is an incredible journalist. And he's very big on vernacular. So when living with my father, my dad was, very big on this is how you say this and this is how you say that. And that kind of carried over into my adult years. And just the concept of there is a correct and incorrect way to say certain words, I think. But some people have accents, you know what I'm saying, and I understand. Have you observed your family being abusive to your mom? No. Not at all. I haven't observed that. What I can say, from a son standpoint, right? And that being my mother. Uncle Sidney, and I'm going to address properly why I call him Uncle Sidney. When Uncle Sidney came into my mother's life, if I remove how it made me feel, on the outside looking in, it did seem like my mother was happy. I watched my mom move differently, and as a man now, looking back on it, I understand that was his doing. Regardless of how I feel about him, he's not my husband. He's not my husband. It's not his job to please me or make me happy. My mother's weight was an issue. And when my mother had even expressed that he had expressed to her that he said something along the lines of, I want you to be here for a really long time. Can I sit here and say, well, I should have been important enough for my mother to do that? Man, yeah, but that's corny. But the fact that he did, inspire that, there were things that did take place. When I remove, like I said, my emotion from it, I can't villainize. I don't want to villainize either one of them. I don't. I don't want to villainize them. I can still remember Baltimore. Like it's yesterday. I still remember the drive from Baltimore across the country to California. I can still remember coming home from school and my mother had tears coming down her face and I said, Ma, what's wrong? And she said, I got the part. And I said, for what? She said, how she worded it, because the Parkers wasn't set in stone yet. It was something like to play something in a pilot role. And I was like, oh, okay, word. I didn't really, and for a long time as a kid, it never really dawned on me who and what my mother actually was. But then, like I said, we weren't in California for very long until when that moment happened. We were at Canoga Park Apartments. We left from those apartments. We moved into a one-story house around the corner. And we went from that one-story house around the corner to the two-story house around the corner. She went from that two-story house around the corner to her first $1 million house. And I still remember it like it's yesterday. I just don't like the narrative. But I don't know if I can cuss on here. But I'm effing proud of that woman. I am. I really am proud of my mother. I just didn't like that narrative. That's all. But damn, yo, like, I can see why she gets frustrated oftentimes with how the industry may respond. Like, I was a stand-up comedian. I got my own show. Then I hit movies. I hit the ground running. I co-star, I think, in my first major film. And out the gate, I win an Oscar, which I think it was a weird moment. But I think that is like that's I'm gonna sound like a corny nerd. That's a fucking Xbox achievement. That dead ass is an Xbox achievement. To have done it the way that she did, and it is a salute. And to make it about black women for a second, because I do have a daughter. There does need to, I think what she says in reference to Hollywood oftentimes can be correct. I may not agree with her approach to it. And I think that is the disconnect. But, let me hit that button real quick. Sorry, y'all. But salute to her though. Like, Queen of Comedy, Academy Awards. I think she got a Golden Globe, I think. NAACP Awards. To me, the NAACP Awards are just as, if not more, impactful than anything else. I think I went with her twice. The visual of it, I enjoyed seeing that amount of people of color being held to that type of status was like super unique to see. The amount of times you look around when talking is the biggest indicator of lying. Oh, I didn't know that was the cure-all to to lying. So I'm lying about bigging up my mother. That seems like an odd thing to lie about. So why not make amends? Here's the thing. As I stated, when it comes to my mother and I feel as though my mother lacks a certain level of humility, compassion, and consideration. My mother has the resources to get in contact with me. It's not like I'm not Barack Obama's son. Like, it's not like I'm impossible to get in contact with. As a man, I have a family. I love my mother. But I also have to acknowledge that my mother also has other sons that she also has to raise. They also require the need of a mother. So, make amends, to me, my mother used to say to me an expression along the lines of, when you close your eyes at night. Essentially meaning, like, as long as you feel good, when you close your eyes at night. If my mother and I both close our eyes every night, feeling okay, then that's enough for me. That feel as though that's enough. And I don't have to necessarily... Oh, okay, well, let me address this because I feel like most people say, well, what about your daughter? My daughter will know who my mother is. My daughter will know who my mother is. That is definitely a thing. She will know who my mother is. But my daughter also very much so she has two loving, active grandmothers. She has two loving and active grandfathers in her life. So, oh my gosh. And these four people, want to be in Sanai's life. They want to be there. And that's important to me. They want to be there. Yes, Christian, you're basically saying you want your mom to be there for you regardless of money. Yes. That's all. I just wanted to be there regardless of money. So, because it was never about money. I wasn't complaining. I don't feel entitled to money. I'm not on stage telling the jokes. I'm not in the scenes acting. You know what I'm saying? So, what money? You know what I mean? Like, does your mom support you financially? No. But like I said, to be fair, she did give me the $10,000 for the down payment on my car. I know some people would say, well, what kind of car is that for a $10,000 down payment? A Kia Rio. The $10,000 down payment allowed me to have a lower car payment. What's my girlfriend think of my mom? There's no animosity or ill will or hate. Like, nobody's mad at anybody. Like, the focus in our home is my daughter. And seeing that little girl smile in my face every day, hearing her call me daddy every day, mommy, daddy, just my interactions with my kid, that's, I don't know, man. I'm sorry, I'm kind of losing my train of thought a little bit. Was it a strained? Yes. Yes, that's a fantastic question. Was it a strained relationship before her husband came in the picture? Yes. To put it in proper context, I think that there are some individuals who say, I do what I do because I want to provide a better life for my family. And then I think there are some individuals who say, I do what I do because I want to be a star. That is my mother. To be fair, that does not villainize a person. It doesn't villainize somebody at all. But when you do have a child, once you birth a child, it's fine to still say, I want to be a star. But why not still say that, but maneuver in the name of your, I want to do this because I have a child now. Now I have an extra motivation to do this. Now I have an extra motivation to do this. You know, absolutely. Your mom admitted she made mistakes. The admissions and all of those things, that was never the point of me saying anything. Where did you call Sid? Oh, I was supposed to address that earlier. So I've known Uncle Sid for a while. Like, I've known him, they're correct, I have known him since I was a boy. Like, he once lived with us when we were still in Baltimore, way before my mother was famous. He lived with us, I forget what the name of that place. Utah's Place, I think? I might be wrong. But they were friends. So I've always referred to him as Uncle Sid. Always. Like, always. I've never not referred to him as Uncle Sidney. I can remember parent-teacher meetings when I was in high school, and they would be like, so Shalon, is your dad coming? And sometimes you just don't feel like correcting people. And you'd be like, yeah, my dad's coming. And then he'd walk in, and I'd be like, yeah, this is my Uncle Sid. And they'd be like, wait, you just, what? And we had that weird comical moment. But that's why I call him Uncle Sidney. It's not for any weird or strange reason. I call him Uncle Sidney because I've known that they were best friends prior to them dating and getting married. Was it weird to me in the beginning? Yeah, because call that man Uncle Sid. So a lot of people keep asking, it seems, is there a chance for reconciliation? And I'm not going to lie, as a Cancer, we are oftentimes very in tune with our feelings and emotions. I still refer to my mother as Mommy. If my mother was standing right here in my doorway, I would say, hey, Mommy. I love my mother. And I'm only looking up because I'm trying to keep myself together. But I love my mother. And I can remember the first time that I saw my mother in Sinai. My little girl had a dance recital. And all the little girl, everybody was sitting down. And Sinai, she wouldn't sit down. And she looked out. Excuse me. She looked out into the audience. And she was so unafraid. But she was so intrigued by what she saw. And Miss Cheryl, shout out to the dance company, she was trying to get Sanaa to sit down because she was talking. And Sanaa just wouldn't sit down. And kind of all out in front of everybody else. And all I could see was my mom. I couldn't see anything else. All I could see was my mother. That moment didn't make me feel bad. It was a bittersweet moment. I apologize up front if what I am going to say makes me sound selfish. For a mother to state that you weren't interested, I just want you to give the same effort that you gave to being Monique and to wanting to be my mom. That's all. That's why it was bittersweet, because I could see you. Man, I done seen my mother do some incredible things. I really have. The Beyonce dance, I can remember going to them rehearsals. And I think that's why I saw her. Because of the Beyonce thing. When she did I can't remember what song they danced to. I just want my mother to want it, if that makes sense. But I have to be okay if that's not the case. Right? So, as Sanaa's father, I mean, yeah, I gotta make sure that my baby girl knows where she comes from. I think the one thing that's lost in a lot of this is I genuinely miss my mom. There's a, and I hate to say it like this, but there's a version of my mom. There's this way that she can be with me that I really do enjoy. But then there's this way that she can be with me that, as Ron Burgundy said, it cuts to the core of me, Baxter. But reconciliation, I won't say no, is the way that I will approach that. I won't say no. God, Mother Nature, and the universe, those three things, number one being God, but Mother Nature is a thing, the universe is still a thing. But God, I'll stick with God, because that's the main person I go to. God works in such a mysterious way. Do I think that my mother and I could sit back and bust out laughing that this moment in time happened as she holds my daughter? Man, Sure, right? But it is what it is. You know? It is what it is. I think and it's gonna sound like I'm defending them, from the outside, yes, it comes off like he puts a spell on her, and even I addressed it. It does come off like my mother is not competent, or I don't know, I guess maybe capable is the word, at speaking on her own. And that's something that does bother me about our relationship dynamic. But I don't think it's as deep as a spell. But I look forward to, though, stop talking about my mother. I do look forward, though, to figuring out something to do with TikToking, I suppose. So that is not my mother related. Like I said, I don't think I'll do anything different than what I was doing before, which is posting stuff about myself, my kid, and my girlfriend, and kind of just keeping it pushing. So, but as somebody told me, I should go to sleep. Y'all need to go to sleep, because it's 11. I said, it's 1,100 people. I said, yeah, I need to go to sleep, because it's 5:12 in the morning my time. The word expose, I don't know why. I mean, I guess it's easy to want to use that word, but I didn't expose anything. I literally addressed what you could read on the internet. I just provided context to it. But no, I wouldn't see it as me exposing her. But if that's the narrative that you would like to go with, then sure. My daughter looks like her. She definitely does look like my mother. She also looks like her nana too. So, but man, I tell you what I am about to do. I'm going to sleep. It's 1,100. I see, I keep saying the amount of people, not the time. It's 5:14. I'll just get off by saying, man, I appreciate you guys for listening. I really just wanted to get on here and learn how to use this damn mute button, and ended up talking to 1,000 people. But God bless y'all, man. Kiss your babies. Kiss your mamas. Everybody have a good rest of the day. Oh, because it's 5:14. Good morning. Depending on where you are, good night. Goodbye.